Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Radio Free Wall Street. You are here, 5 o'clock New York time, every single day. And this is where we let our hair down. This is where I pick a subject of importance to me, and this is where I give you my opinions on it. And it's kind of like editorial comment. Now, this is a little unique in that this was a result of soul searching. And I've had this little voice nagging me for a long time, and I've been very disturbed about Donald Trump's bullshit. I understand it's blow and go and the art of the deal and all that, but I've been disturbed by it from the office of the President of the United States. When he declared that North Korea is no longer a nuclear threat to the rest of the world with no deal done, nothing had written, no weapons accounted for, nothing. It was just a publicity stunt. And but that's not the subject. I've been extremely distraught about Donald Trump's attack on the media, CNN. He went so far as to stop that merger with the judge overturned it. His Justice Department, on his instructions, fought it tooth and nail. He's a very vindictive piece of work. Now, I'm going to make some associations here that, if you're a Trump lover, is going to upset you. And are we at the point that we cannot have difference of opinion and not be enemies? Or are we at the point where we're ruling by hatred? And that's kind of what I blame Donald Trump for, okay? I was talking to a friend of mine. He says, you can't go into a cafe and discuss it. People are so polarized and get so angry. And I pointed out because of this one factor. Despite all the blow and go and all the bullshit, middle-class America is dying. Most people can't make it. Regulations, taxes, high rents, high apartment costs, high housing costs are killing them. And that's a story that is not being told. The economy is not doing well. The Fed is raising rates. People are having trouble make it. The middle class is disappearing, and people are angry. And they're confused. And the last thing we need is a man like Donald Trump, who, like Hitler, Mussolini, and all the great dictators of our time, of our century, have done. And that is pit the masses against each other to build your power base. Now, one of the great guarantees of America is the free press. I've spent millions guaranteeing my free press rights. It was hell. But I have the only job in the world that's guaranteeing the Constitution. Okay? The Constitution guarantees the right of the free press. When I hear Donald Trump attack CNN fake news, I cringe. I want you to hear me, please. The Constitution guarantees hate speech. It guarantees satire, insults. It is a broad-ranging power to attack leaders. It is a broad-ranging power to make assumptions, innuendo. It is, the standard of proof is very low and almost non-existent. It's almost impossible to libel a public official. Now, why is that? It's because you want the free press attacking your leadership. You want the barking dog, and at times the mad dog of the free press, raising hell with your leaders. Okay? If you want the job as president, congressman, it comes with it. You're going to be insulted and vilified. You're going to be lied about. You're going to see stuff you don't want your kids to see. That's the system. That's the safeguard. Now, from the bully pulpit, now don't feel so sorry for the President of the United States. He clicks on a microphone, he's got 100 million viewers, okay? So he's got the largest Twitter account of all of them. So he has a voice to answer back. He has what we call the bully pulpit. But the great danger of Donald Trump is that he's now attacking the free press. He's calling it fake news. Now, I'm going to tell you very clearly why he's doing it. Every time Donald Trump comes out with his fake news stuff, it's another case of the hangman. Remember that little hangman where you asked the word, if you got it wrong, they drew a line, and they drew a little body and a stick, and remember that little game, the kids' game? Well, every time something comes out, Donald Trump moves closer to impeachment. And when he does, that's when he starts screaming fake news, and attacking the free press. I think he has a right to utter his point of view. I think he can staunchly defend the fact that there was no collusion. I don't believe it. that it is his enemies opposing him. I have no problem with that. Where I have a severe problem is when Donald Trump is trying to unite his constituency against fake news and suggest that they should lose their press credentials, shut down. And that is on the road to Stalin and Hitler-type censorship. Whatever despot, whatever dictator does, they get around to the free press. I've had press that I've known in Central America killed by drug lords. We have them constantly attacked. Every month or so, someone from the press that attacks Putin is found dead or missing. And the things that Donald Trump fears is he doesn't fear guns. He doesn't fear attack because he has an army that surrounds him and gives him protection. What Donald Trump fears is the attack of the free press. You know the old cliche, the pen is mightier than the sword? Well, that's very true. Now, we have many, many voices. We have many people manipulating press and manipulating voices and doing like campaigns and all that. That's all part of the system. Embrace it. Love it. Learn to live with it. Learn to understand, to make your own mind up. Collect information from every different news source that disagrees with your point of view. I read the Communist Party news releases. By the way, they do a dump of 30, 40, 50 stories a day. I rarely find anything in it I agree with, but I read every word. I watch all the shows on Fox News. Fox I have a lot of trouble with more than anyone else. I watch everything on CNN. I watch 30 news feeds a day, literally. I collect news out of Turkey, China, Korea, all of Europe. There's a lot of news out there, all of the English stations. And it has made me a better person. It's made me a smarter person. I'm not so dainty in my view that, oh, don't tell me something because you'll sway my point of view and I'll be confused. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Donald Trump's attack on the free press is an attack on our freedoms. As President of the United States, it's an attack on the Constitution that he has sworn to protect. I think it's outrageous. Now, I'm going to tell you. Hang on a second, let me get some tea. It's been a long day. You guys got to forgive me. I just started early, and with the interest rate hike and everything going on, I've been a busy boy. Hang on. That feels good. Thank you. But I wanted to have this conversation with you from the heart and say that, where are we going here? I can't have a difference of opinion without you hating me or me hating you. Can you love Hillary Clinton and I don't have to hate you? Is that the point where we're at, where we're even going to practice violence on each other? Well, I blame Donald Trump for a lot of that. He's stirring up the partisanship. And I blame it because I truly believe, hear me, with all my heart and soul, I truly believe that Donald Trump did collude with the Russians. I truly believe he has things to hide. I truly believe he's scared shit of this investigation. I truly believe that Cohen, his mouthpiece, attack dog, fixer, has a lot of secrets to give up that is very damaging to the president. I believe he's very worried. And I believe Donald Trump will declare that there's a nuclear-free zone in Korea when there's not. That Kim Jong Nunchucks is not a danger when he is. That he wants to reduce our troops, which is a mistake because it's also on the troops bordering on China. And he wants to stop the military exercise which our generals don't agree with. The Japanese don't agree with it, and neither do the South Koreans, although they're being very polite. So I'm seeing Donald Trump give up a lot, because he wants the headline that he was the great deal maker and he brought peace to Korea, and he wants that peace prize. And Donald Trump wants to get fake news up and going, how poor Donald Trump's campaign was spied on by the FBI and all that malarkey, because he wants sympathy, because he knows what's coming. Now, one day, sooner or later, Mueller wraps up his investigation. And even if Donald Trump shuts down the investigation, I can assure you that those reports will be made public. And Donald Trump can't stop that, and he knows it. At some point, Donald Trump has got to answer for the allegations that are very serious against him. That's the job description as president. Look, almost damn every president in my lifetime had a special counsel investigating him. That's just how we do things in America. Boo-hoo, get over it. Now, attacking your attacker, attacking the media to the extent that Donald Trump is something I've never seen before. A friend of mine said that if Dick Nixon had Fox News that would lie and cheat and go to bat for him and give him the publicity campaign, he probably would not have had to resign under humiliation, okay? But even with Fox's News' undying, unwavering support of everything Donald Trump does and says, no matter how stupid, it's not going to be enough. Donald Trump's attack on the news agencies, on NBC, on CNN, is an attack on all our freedoms. It's an attack on the American way of life. If there's fake news, so there's fake news. Get over it. If they're lying about them, so they lie about you. You know, be a big boy. If you're going to be in a position of power, that goes with the game. Now, when the dictators come to power, there's no more fake news. There's death camps. There's assassinations, reprogramming, censors galore. Is that the 1984 George Orwell America you want to be in? What is the problem? If CNN wants to attack him. What is the problem with people saying, you know, Donald, we think you gave up an awful lot and you got nothing in return. There's no commitment to denuke. There is no assurances that we're going to let people in there. There was some vague things that he agreed that there should be a nuclear-free zone, maybe in 25 or 50 years like his father did. There was strong commitments by you to legitimize a vile dictator. There was giving up without any negotiation our military drills every year. There was talk of you reducing our troops without any concessions on his part. I frankly think it was a grave mistake for Donald Trump to go negotiate with him. I think there should have been, before a meeting with Donald Trump, some very serious give-ups by the North Koreans, verifiable. I think the negotiations should have been a lot further along the way. And I truly believe that Kim Jong-Numchucks is going to be negotiating us to death for years to come with nothing to show for it. So I regard his rockets, his cannons aimed at Seoul, South Korea, with 20-plus million people in the world's largest cities, densely populated, as a serious threat. And I think not having military drills is a mistake. I think lifting sanctions, which the Chinese have already started doing, and which Donald Trump has agreed to do according to Kim Jong-Numchucks. So I am gravely concerned about this. But screw silly-ass rocket man. Screw a man with 6 nukes when I got 5,000 aimed at me by serious weapons of serious mega tonnage that can be delivered at any point in America with the Russians. That's a greater fear to me. So this nuclear-free zone and saving the world from Kim Jong-Numchucks, he did not have the ability to do serious damage to the world, okay? I fear Russia, who can kill 1 billion, 2 billion people. I fear China has enough weapons to wipe out 600 million on a first strike. Another 200-300 million dying from food and starvation and radiation poisoning after that. So we are talking about world powers like the Chinese and the Russians that have the power to kill billions of people. That I'm afraid of. Kim Jong-Numchucks is an issue, but if he ever launched one nuke, he'd be gone. We cannot say the same thing about Russia or China. We cannot wipe out their regimes. We can wipe out huge numbers of their populations. They can wipe out huge populations of America. This is serious. But the biggest fear I have, because I don't believe China is going to do a nuclear attack at this time. I don't believe Russia cares to get in a nuclear confrontation with the United States at this time. And I never felt that Kim Jong-Numchucks was willing to use a nuke, but I worried about his conventional weapons. Very hard country to attack and take with conventional weapons. But I'm worried about a bigger thing, and I'm really worried about, again, the attacks on our liberties of the press, the attacks on major news organizations, that, yeah, I believe CNN does have a bias against Donald Trump, but I think the bias for Donald Trump is far greater than Fox News. And yes, I've seen some CNN stories that were on the edge, but I've seen a lot more Fox News stories that were just pure bullshit. I don't think Fox News should be censored. I don't think they should be reprimanded or stopped anyway. And I don't believe CNN should either, or ABC, or NBC, or MSNBC, okay? And I urge you to realize the grave danger of a Donald Trump who's screaming fake news all the time. And this is the kind of stuff that can take hold like a disease and destroy our very freedoms. Hang on, let me see here. I love green tea. So, I thought we should have a talk about this. No matter what your feelings are, and I'm sure they could be strong, no matter how different they are by mine, or maybe the same, I'm not your enemy. My ability to express my point of view is something guaranteed by the Constitution, as is yours. I think that all news outlets, no matter how biased they are, even if they're full of hate speech, as the Constitution guarantees in Supreme Court decisions, should be allowed to speak. Censorship is a grave danger, and Donald Trump is getting very close to that line. He's using his billy pulpit, and he's doing a lot of damage. And I have to say something else to you. Many people in the press are very concerned by this, but they're not willing to speak out. There's a lot of people, a lot of Republicans, for example, that are very concerned about this shit deal he did with Kim Yum Nunchucks, but they worry about his wrath, especially elections coming up. There are many political people that believe this NAFTA war and the way he's handled the G7 allies was a disgrace, but they're unwilling to say that because, again, the fear of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is already stifling free press. Donald Trump is already stifling the truth. Okay, you know it, I know it. He lies his ass off all the time. And it's not just exaggerations, it's PR spin. Because Donald Trump's audience, and this is the danger, are not necessarily the sharpest tools in the box. Donald Trump's audience are people who are very vulnerable to him. Donald Trump's audience don't question him. He demands that blinding loyalty. Now, I can tell you that on the White House level, his presidency is coming apart, okay? There's confusion there. They hate their lives. They hate their jobs. Kudlow had a heart attack as he was lying his ass off and going against everything he believed in free trade. A man under extreme stress. I wonder if he's going to resign his post. And Kudlow, listen to me. It's not worth losing your soul for Donald Trump. You know, you need to just back out of this thing. You got yourself in a mess. And he's going to demand more and more lies from you. You're going to say more and more things you don't believe. And you're going to hate yourself in the morning. So I am gravely concerned about the direction things are taking. But now let's say something else here. Donald Trump still is the President of the United States. Until he's voted out of office, he's still the President. I don't question that. I don't question his right to rule. I question the authority he's taking. I question the attacks on the press, and I'm gravely concerned by it. But he is president. Now, until he's impeached, which I think is a very strong possibility, in fact, I'll put it to you this way. If the Democrats take the House and Senate, Donald Trump's gone. If they just take the House, then we're going to have one of the most divisive sessions for the rest of Donald Trump's term. Nothing will get done, and we'll be in a recession, and we could go into a depression with this crazy trade stuff. And I think Donald Trump needs to be stopped. And I think most Americans want to do that. In other words, I think a lot of Americans are saying, look, we got a guy who's all the way on the right side here, and we need to counterbalance him. So let's give the Senate and the House to the Democrats and let them all fight it out, and that way neither one of them can damage us too much. And that would be how I'd run. This would be the Democratic strategy. Do you really want to give Donald Trump a veto-proof majority? Do you really want to give Donald Trump the power to enact this crazy shit? I think we all agree no, whether you like him or not. I want to say more. I don't believe, however it goes, that Donald Trump will win a second election. By the time the next presidential round comes in a little over 2.5 years, the economy will be deep in a recession. Donald Trump will be getting a blame for the stock market crash. We will be in a major trade war with our allies. There will be conflict on our southern border, an armed conflict. Canada will distance itself from us, and you will plainly see the damage of the way Donald Trump's doing things. Absolutely, positively, life is a negotiation. Trade is one of the ultimate negotiations, and it's incredibly difficult because you're dealing with people's money, okay? And you're dealing with votes and powers that be. In other words, if someone has the power to have a president's ear, well, that's a powerful person with a lot of money, and that's a business person. So, of course, that person's going to fight for his business interests. And that's how the whole damn system works. It's been that way since trade was established on beads for the island. So there are good trade deals, there are bad trade deals. There's good press, there's bad press. There's good media, there's biased media. All media brings a certain degree of its bias. Now, we all have to feel it's been an extreme. But my warning here is this one. I think Donald Trump is losing his cookies. I think this investigation is wearing on his very soul. I think it occupies every thought, every minute of every day, and I think it's damaging him. I see more and more people around him who are going to be testifying against him. I think there's a lot of bad information out there that is going to damage and weaken his presidency. I think Flynn was a problem, and Malford was a problem, but I think he's got a major problem with Cohen. And I think this thing is going to get harder and harder and harder. I think the war on the press by Donald Trump will get more intense as we move to election. I mean, that's the pattern. He wants to say, look, I did all these trade things, Mr. Billy Bob. Look, I'm protecting your factory job from those Mexicans and from Canada and from those Europeans and their foreigners. And the free press is lying about me. There was no collusion. This investigation should be investigating the FBI. They were in my campaign. They tried to destroy me because of the deep state. And he's going to play that theme. Because Donald Trump knows you need 12 words. You know, you just need a deep state. I mean, it's copy that really is well written or well chosen. Not by him, by the way. And it's a situation where fake news. He's using sound bites. The president is using his techniques as a master showman, you know, as a very successful apprentice TV producer, which was not reality TV, I might add. And I think he's applying him to the presidency in a very dangerous way, which, again, is his right to do it. But the line has been crossed as he attacks the free press. Donald Trump is moving in a very dangerous direction that many dictators that came before him did. And you damn right you should be concerned. You're damn right you should be worried. And you're damn right this can go badly. Again, I repeat, Donald Trump is very vulnerable about this investigation. To say there was no proof of collusion is not true. There was collusion with people on his campaign with the Russians while they were on his campaign, while they were on his transition, and while in the early stage of his presidency. That's a fact. Now, did it extend to the president? Well, that will have to be decided. Did it extend to his son-in-law? Well, I think we're going to be able to answer that question in short order. And that's how the system works. Do you really, you love Donald Trump, okay. Do you really do you want a president of the United States who owes the Russians, a man like Vladimir Putin? Do you really want a president of the United States who's being blackmailed by a foreign power like Russia? I mean, if that's true, isn't that something we should investigate and know about? Isn't that something that should be adjudicated? Is that not something our leadership should deal with? And the answer to all those questions are hell yes. Now, Donald Trump, to me, on a daily basis, acts like a guilty man. On a daily basis, when he screams, fake news, fake news, fake news, I get more concerned and more convinced that he's got something to hide. Every time he talks, there's no collusion, no collusion, no collusion. We already heard it, Don. Why are they repeating? And as he keeps attacking the FBI, attacking the investigation, that's all water under the bridge. However the investigation came about, even if it was tainted, is not grounds to end the investigation. The investigation stands that the president is being investigated by serious allegations. How those allegations came to fruition is a secondary issue once the investigation starts. And more people are saying, hey, if you've got nothing to hide, testify. If you've got nothing to hide, let the investigation run its course and have yourself vindicated. You think you want that. Now, if you got something to hide, then you need to attack the FBI. You need to attack the investigation. You need to make damn sure that you got the House and Senate full of Republicans who owe you that will bury this for you. And that's the tactic he's on, and that's what Giuliani's job is. And he's now attacking the press, the freedom of the press, the right of the press to report, the right of fake news, in a way that's very dangerous and destabilizing to America. And I want to be very clear here that for me, he's crossed this line too many times. For me, I am now very concerned again about a man who shits on every democracy in the world, be it the Canadians or the English or the French, okay, even Australia, and embraces dictators. I have a real problem with his relationship with Putin. I have a real problem with him allowing the Chinese phone company to come back and compete with us unfairly, I might add. I have a real problem with these trade sanctions that are not justified against Canada, the war in trade with Mexico and with Europe. I have a real problem with it, Japan. I have a real problem with what he gave away with Kim Jong nunchucks. And with my own ears, I've heard his declarations that the world is now safe from a nuclear South Korea. I don't accept that. And I am gravely concerned about his attack on the press that points out that, Donald, you don't have a deal. There are no weapons inspectors. There's no declaration of nuclear warhead counts or the amount of nuclear material he has. You walked out of there with nothing and gave up everything. And I think that that is the right of the press to question. And I think it's wrong of the President of the United States to attack the press about his questionable negotiations, about his claims of how successful negotiations are that just are not true. And remember, this is the President of the United States, and it was an embarrassment to me to see this scene at the G7. It was an embarrassment for me to see him arrive late, leave early. It was an embarrassment for me to see the confrontations. It was an embarrassment for... Now, let me say this, let me interrupt myself. I'm all for tough negotiations. Not in public, not in the media, not insulting leaders of other democracies. Now, if they want to go in the room and duke it out, fine. And come to a conclusion. And come to an agreement. But Donald Trump is not an honest broker. I think everyone's had the conclusion that whatever you negotiate with him doesn't stand. And, it's not the art of the deal, it's the art of the con. And I really mean that. But the line has been crossed with this consistent attack on CNN. Excuse me, what news service are you? Oh, you're CNN fake news. What's your question? Completely uncalled for, completely improper, and a grave danger to the right of the free press. A grave danger. He has got people who are of weaker minds, I should say, that are now believing him and questioning the fake news and free press, and they want it silenced. All press can publish, no matter what they say, no matter how vile it is. Okay? It is the safeguard of our freedoms. And every time I've been to a place, and I've been to places where the press is silenced, they open up the torture centers of the population and people start disappearing. And they become very ugly dictatorships. And I have to say this to you. We're not a dictatorship, of course not. But I sure feel like Donald Trump is orientated that way in a very dangerous manner. And I'm very concerned that this is going to end very badly. And you need to speak out about preserving the right of the free press, the right of people to attack Donald Trump, the right of people to vilify him, satirize him, assault him in the press, question him. Because that's how the system works, and that's the safeguard of the free press. Especially with a man of Donald Trump, we really need it.